What's going on, people? So moments ago I was recording another Air Max 1 video, these right here, the Easter ones, right? And I said I was going to record another Air Max 1 video, and well, I'm no liar. There we are, Air Max 1 stuff, right? So let's go ahead. You've seen the side of the box. I'm sure it was very underwhelming to most of you, but hey, whatever. We're going to jump on into this so this video doesn't take forever. This right here is the Nike Air Max 1 86 OG in some kind of army colorway. I don't know what the actual name is of these, and I didn't care to look it up because I just didn't care. You know what I'm saying? I think army colored really just sums it up, doesn't it? Down across the bottom, what are you looking at down there? A very, very plain outsole, right? The last one had a little bit going on down there. This one just plain black, right? I get it though. It just kind of makes sense for this particular design. So there's that. Now moving on up here, also with the midsole, right? Same thing as you saw in the last video, if you happen to watch the last video anyways. Just brown, right? Very plain. It's typical things. The only real difference here being, since this is like the 86 style, like they went with like the big bubble thing. So you can kind of see that in there, right? Which, if I recall correctly, I want to say like the blue pair that I have like kind of made me feel like a little bit higher in the back, right? Because it is a bigger bubble. But I don't know, it might have just been that pair. Or the fact that I wore those so long ago, and maybe I'm not even remembering that correctly. But I did do a follow-up video. So if you want to know my thoughts on the actual 86 style, watch the follow-up video, because that one's probably semi-helpful. I don't know. Anyway, so another angle or two so you can see these things in all their army glory, right? For the most part, we're going to have to get in here some details to really drive this whole thing home. But you kind of see what's going on here, right? It is just your standard Air Max 1, no surprises there. But it's just got some army stuff going on as far as the color goes, right? So, decent presentation in some ways, but, you know, kind of left me wanting more in others. But we'll get into it in a second here. So, down here, I'm not gonna do like the full-on breakdown, I guess. I'll just kind of give you like what's the overview, right? So down all throughout here, right, wherever you see on the upper, like the army print, so you got it around the toe box, then over here in the middle section, like where the swooshes are, you have it there, going all around. If you look towards the back end, you're gonna have it back there as well, right? All that army stuff is all going to be in some sort of canvas type material, right? So I don't know how that's gonna work out as far as like cleaning it or if it gets dirty or whatever. I'm not much for cleaning shoes, so I've got nothing for you. But I would say that's probably something to think about. But the biggest thing about this upper to me, sticking around down with that toe box, you take this out, see that? Like you can see like straight up through here, right? Which for running shoes and stuff makes a lot of sense, and technically these are kind of running shoes, right? But not so much anymore because there's better options. But I'm just saying, like, there's this huge mesh thing going on that's like this wide mesh where you can just like see all up in there. So that is a thing I didn't realize was a factor going into this. Would have been kind of nice to know. Not a big deal though. So there's that happening, right? And on the inside, it goes back a little bit more than on the outside, whereas because on the outside it's kind of broken up just a little bit. But past that, right? Moving on, and you can kind of see it. Down in there, it's going to be like a really orange insole, right? May as well talk about that now, even though we're not at the inside portion of the shoe. But yeah, orange insole, greenish sort of text and whatnot. Otherwise, laces are going to be like your standard laces. The tongue, moving on up, looking at that, right? It's nice. I do like the way it looks. It feels really cool too. It's kind of like puffy in a way. So like, kind of like some good padding in there, but not thick. So I don't know. It's kind of hard to describe, but maybe that made sense. If not, well, I don't know, whatever. And then as far as the inside goes, because this is an Air Max 86, they do have the 10 on the inside to show you what size it was, because I guess that's a thing they were doing back then. So that's what's going on in there, right? Not a whole lot else to say, so I guess I can just move on, right? Normally the next piece of this video would be the personal thoughts and whatever, but I'm going to say some stuff about sizing right now while I'm thinking about it, so I don't have to come back to it later. I buy my Air Max 1s at a true to size, right? Like, so 9.5 for me, because that's the size of my foot. And they work out fine. Some of them have a little more room than others. Materials are a factor. The cut is a factor, right? Sometimes you have those premium ones that might have thicker materials that feel a little different. or like suede versus leather is going to feel a little different sometimes. But ultimately, for me, 9.5 true to size has worked out on all of them, right? I did say that this Easter pair had a toe box that felt a little more narrow than I might have expected, but I haven't worn an Air Max 1 in a while, so I don't know if that's just a thing that I just don't remember or what, but it still worked out fine for me. Just saying, true to size, that's a good option to go with, but Air Max 1s are all over the place. Go try a pair on in store and see what you think. And whatever you think with that, you'll probably be fine going on and buying any other ones, for the most part anyways. So there we go. Moving on past that. Like I said, I'm going to do the personal thoughts piece and then be done. Personally, I am not a huge fan of the mesh thing, right? It looks kind of weird. But I did buy my dad some socks that I think look pretty cool. Like I bought him 4 pairs. I bought him a bunch of socks from the Nike page, right? Because I felt like they would go okay with this. So that way he can get them and he go, oh wow, look, I got some new socks and you can see them in the shoes, right? So, because if you just got these, I feel like he'd be like, that's kind of weird, Tristan. What's going on with that? But he does like army stuff, right? So I feel like these should be a winner overall in his eyes, but I probably won't find out until March when I give them to him for his birthday. Until then, they're just going to be sitting around. So, you know, it is what it is. But I do like the Air Max 1, and I do like the canvas that they put on here. I'm still not sure how I feel about that as far as like a material choice goes, as far as like, you know, an execution. Like, is this going to be a problem or something, you know? It's not going to be heavier, right? It's probably going to be still pretty light and breathable, so I do like that. But I'm just saying, like, if you're wondering about like how it's going to be with keeping these clean and everything, I don't know. I don't have a lot of canvas shoes. I mean, yeah, everything I have is mostly mesh, so I can't really say, but it might be fine. It might just be me like overthinking this whole thing or whatever. So I'm not going to dwell on it. Just going to move on past that and say that this right here, it's not for me, so I don't have to like it, right? But the person I'm getting it for, I think they'll be pretty into it, especially since I got them some socks to take advantage of this little see-through stuff going on the front piece there. But, you know, like I said, I'll find out in a couple months. One other thing that I just remembered I should have talked about, on the back piece though, like on the back where, you know, I was saying all the stitching stuff, one says Nike and one has a swoosh, right? So there's that. Also, in case you weren't aware, these do come in like the cool box that has like the little see-through thing on the top and the holes on the sides, right? So you can do that, right? It's pretty cool. You can put yourself a little pet in here and it'll have holes to breathe, so that way he'll probably live and not die, though living in a box sounds god-awful. From me to you, have a nice rest of your day or rest of your night, wherever you are. I have one more pair of shoes to talk about. Just going to switch these two boxes real quick just like that. And bam! Ready for the next video. Later, people.